We're here analyzing and comparing two pieces, Travelers Among Mountains and Streams by Fan Quan, housed in the National Palace Museum in Tibet, and also The Valley of Mexico from the Hillside of Santa Isabel by Jose Maria Velasco.
Yes, first we will start with Travelers. Travelers is the only piece that survived by Quan and is a Chinese landscape hanging scroll. Here we can see the brushwork and texture dots from the use of ink on silk, and there are definitely dark colors used here.
This piece is very straightforward, bold, and even crisp. How the audience view this scroll is actually important. This hanging scroll is at eye level and is split up in different sections since the scenery does not blend.
Adding on to what Erica said, this hanging scroll was divided into three sections. The bottom is the foreground of echo-shaped rocks of mountains beyond. The middle is of travelers and mules on the right, trees and ricks divided by a waterfall, spanned by a bridge and a temple.
In this third section, here we see the top, which are mountains surrounded by mist, with shorter mountains beside them, including a waterfall on the right. The use of shifting viewpoint is presented here.
This acted as an inspiration and model to future Chinese artists. Quan was a Neo-Confucian who was disenchanted with human affairs. He turned away from the world to seek spiritual enlightenment. While doing so, he studied the world around him.
Yes, he did, and also relied on suggestion rather than description. Quan expressed his own response to nature. He searched for absolute truth and self-cultivation.
There is a sense of scale, space, and depth here, and even vastness. The lines are more curved, natural, and faint.
There is definitely some symbolism connected to the Chinese cultural beliefs and views. The tall pine trees represented the virtuous man. They also viewed mountains as sacred and imagined them as the home of the immortals. These gnarly pine trees soon became a grand and imposing landscape style.
Yes, definitely. This presents a universal creation in totality with economic means. This piece took place during the Northern Song dynasty as seen on the map here.
Really, the cross-culture in this piece is Neo-Confucianism, nature, and the landscape painting. The ink came from India, which was traded with the Chinese. The Silk Road had a symbolic meaning also and is one of the most highly used routes to trade silk, which the Chinese guarded the secret of its production for centuries.
Overall, this painting shine light on their only, which are Neo-Confucian principles that create structure of nature and matter.
Moving on to the next piece of the Valley of Mexico, which is housed in the National Museum of Art in Mexico City. This piece has similarities related to Travelers Among Mountains and Streams.
Just like Travelers, there is a use of foreground, a large canvas, and with the zigzag lines, it splits up the whole canvas into sections.
Yes, which is exactly like Travelers. It forces you to look at everything in all the sections. However, they do differ in focus of clouds, geology, the city in the back, and that this is a panoramic.
Actually, let's turn our attention over to the content. There are trees, boulders, bright grass, mountains, clouds, rivers, and if you look closely at the very back, you see a town. In this town, there are roads, lakes, towns, and a cathedral.
Yes, let's actually zoom in on this cathedral. This cathedral shows off religion, and just like in Travelers, there is a symbol of a religious building. Because here we have from Travelers is a temple.
Jose, just like Quan, focused on nature and detail, but also turned his attention to geology, industrialization, and historical value. Adding on to Erica mentioning the town, dust, and cathedral, they are all symbols leading to the effects of industrialization.
Looking at this piece, you're really leading up to the heart of Mexico City. This alone shows human development by looking at the close-up of the mother and her son and formations in the sky.
Just like in Travelers, there are people and animals along the bottom portion of the scroll, just like the mother and son here in the valley.
Adding onto the sky, you can see two volcanoes, and the names are on the screen, and they are said to be related to two lovers from the Aztec period, which is important to the history of Mexico. This was deeply informed by the romanticism of the people.
Yes, they were symbols of the nation as they represented Mexico in several world fairs. There's a dramatic perspective present here and evokes spiritual power and nature.
The cross-cultural connections in this piece is found in its materials. Oils were first created by the ancient Mediterranean civilization. Jose borrowed these material ideas from the civilization to create this painting. The designs of the formation of geology and clouds, dust arising, and towns reflect the culture's beliefs in the new rebirth of industrialization and human development.
Overall, the two paintings are very similar in their content, similar forms of nature, layout of the art piece, and how religion played a role in each of the paintings drastically because of the worship buildings painted in. They do differ in color, places they were made, and time periods. However, they do not fail to represent culture in their own ways using similar techniques.